Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. Hey, I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Beauty in Black. It's currently streaming on Netflix, and from what I still see, it's the #1 highest rated show right now on Netflix. So I don't know what your problem is, but let's get on over there and start watching. It's a really good show. But I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video, and also do me a favor and subscribe to my channel if you are new. You can leave your comments below. Let's get into this episode. All right, so this is season 1, episode 3, entitled The Aftermath. All right, so we left off the last episode. Kimmy's looking at these photos and seeing people that she recognizes. One person she recognizes is Jules, the head pimp in charge. And then also Roy, the man that's cheating on his wife, who's married to Mallory of the Beauty in Black business. So she comes back out to Mr. Horace and gives him the pills and also water. He takes it. He's appreciative of her. He tells her to reach into his pocket and take whatever's in there, basically all the money in there. And Kimmy said, I don't want anything as long as you check on my friend Rain. And Horace said, you don't have to make a choice. You can choose the money, and also I will check on Rain. Then Horace makes an observation of Kimmy, saying that you're different. She describes who Rain is. Rain has been someone that's had her back when she didn't know anything, da-da-da-da-da. But what he says, what he sees in Kimmy is that Kimmy has a heart. He then goes into who he is, and he is one of the curators of the Belier. I already messed up his last name, but it's the Beauty in Black business that Mallory, that we see is the face of it. Him and his brother started the company, the cosmetic company. His brother was the chemist, and Horace was the one of the business that actually got business in the doors. He asks, do you use it? She's like, yeah, I've used it since I was a little girl. And he says, stop using it. In specifics, the Lye Relaxer is giving women cancer, and they are being unalived. He also announces that he has a prostate cancer, so what goes around comes around for what has happened to other people. He does also say that his family does not know, and he again thanks Kimmy for what she has done for him and says, this is something that I won't forget. Now, he's already said that he's going to check on Rain. So obviously we know that there's going to be something more in the future that he's going to show his gratitude towards Rain about. If he's saying this after that. He wants to see Angel again, and he asks for Kimmy to make that happen. But he also says that Angel stole his watch, and I need you to get it back, despite him wanting to see him again. He says this watch means something to him, so I guess we'll find out in the future what this actually means. And he allows her to take his gardener's truck, and Kimmy's like, what? I can't do that. Like, yes, you can. Just bring it back when you bring back my watch. So Kimmy goes to Angel's, and he said, give me back that watch that you stole from that man. And then she goes into who this man is. Like, look, he's the one that run this stuff that Jules is in, and Jules is just the one that does the dirty work. Angel at that point was scared, and he was ready to give up the watch. His baby mama was upset that she had to give up the watch. So she had an attitude all the time while Kimmy's there. It seemed like she's just this high-strung, jealous baby mama for whatever reason. But Angel was like, well, tell Jules that I have nothing, that I didn't know that this was him or whatever, blah, 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 as far as being a part of this business. And Kimmy said, no, I got to play it cool. And I think Kimmy, in the back of her mind, she has her doubts, because it's like Mr. Horace isn't really playing it like he knows anything about the business, but you gotta know something about this business, Kimmy leaves, and the baby mama gets all over Angel for whatever reason. Norman, we're at the hospital. We see the body that was ran over is at the hospital, and Norman comes in along with Jules. We find out that is Norman's wife that got ran over on the private road. And Norman wants to find out who did this. Da, 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 da. So the next morning, Mallory and Roy, they're up. Mallory comes into the bedroom, and Roy's already lighting up a blunt. Mallory's like, I'm really sick of all this. And Roy said, well, let me sleep down the hall. And she said, no, there's too many people that have eyes around here that could see this. Mallory is really big on her image. Jules calls. He speaks with Mallory, and he says it's Ina that got hit. Mallory has no type of feelings about this lady. She's older, and she's basically confident that the woman is not going to make it. Jules says that Norman is on a warpath, and he wants to know who did this. Mallory said, well, he trusts you. You can tell him anything. Look, as soon as she dies, you are in the line to inherit a lot more if she goes on and dies. But I want you to tell me who Roy was with. Jules acts like he don't know and all that good stuff. Mallory's upset about that. So, Kimmy's at the motel, and Buddy and Digga, they show up, and they stomp her to the ground. And this is a way to get her to be humble. Because remember, they didn't want her to take Rain to the hospital. After that, Kimmy does go to the hospital, and she complains about the pain. This is county hospital, so she's not going to get immediate assistance. She even said that her pain was 11 out of 10. And they said, take your place. We're not ready for you. Olivia. Oh, we meet a new character. Her name is Olivia. She sees Norman, who is the person's husband that got ran over. Is at church. He informs her of what has happened to his wife, and it happened on the private road. Did one of her boys do that? And Olivia's like, what are you talking about? And the next thing you know, Norman said, if my brother is a part of the cover-up, he's going to destroy this family. And Norman gets up and leaves. Olivia, who seems to be really frantic, tries to call Horace. He calls the house, I think like a butler or whomever, answers the phone and basically brushes her off and says Horace is not here. And hangs up the phone. So, Miss Olivia, she goes to a house that we find out it is her son Charles. The son Charles has an open area where he's got glass windows. And we see him having sex down, pounding and pounding and pounding. Charles is gay. So he's pounding this guy. Olivia comes in the house, and then she's like, what is you doing with your nasty tail? Charles is still in the midst of it, don't even want to stop. Olivia finally breaks it up and basically says, tell this guy to leave. Ends up leaving. Olivia says, did you go down the path, the private path? And he said, I didn't drive it. He drove. So then she went to go see the cars. Charles' cars, to see if there's any nicks or anything. And she doesn't see him. And still Charles is trying to find out what's going on. She's not really saying anything, but she tells him that he needs to get to the office now as a board, because he's a board member. And he doesn't really want to come and all this stuff. It's like, look, we bought all this stuff from you. You will obey and you will get up into the office today. And then she leaves. Okay, so Kimmy slips away from the waiting room and she finds Rain. Rain is in a lot of pain and is frantic about what's going on with her. She was told by the nurses that she has blood clots. It's going to go to her lungs and it's going to kill her. They have no doctors, and it looks like they have paid some people to laugh at her. We do know that I think that they have hired a bunch of people, or at least paid a bunch of people within the hospital to treat anyone that may be one of the girls and to treat them how they want to be treated. Kimmy stays by her side. So at the office, Beauty in Black, Mallory is there, and Miss Olivia wants to speak to Mallory. We need to talk. Roy and Charles are there. Charles goes and sees Roy and into the office, and you can tell that they don't get along. But he says, look, we're going to have to stick to a game plan of us really adoring our father so that we're not kicked out of the will. Obviously, this family is a hot mess, but it gets hotter than this. Roy feels like he's going to die pretty soon. And Charles was like, well, you know, evil people tend to live a long life. And Roy said, good point. Mom asked me, Charles is telling this to Roy, did I drive down the private road? And Roy was like, what? Roy leaves his office to go over to Mallory. Olivia and Mallory are talking, and she asked, you know, did Roy or Charles drive down the private road? And Mallory's like, what? No, I don't know. I got to ask them. She didn't say no. She says, well, their aunt is the one that got ran over. And I really need to know because Norman is very violent. And then all of a sudden, Roy and Charles, they come in and interrupt. And Roy wants to know what's going on. Olivia says, I was speaking to your wife. Well, Roy was like, well, I'm here now. You can talk to me. Basically ignores her. It doesn't even look like they have an ounce of a relationship. She won't even talk to him at all. Olivia leaves, and then Mallory tells Charles to leave. Roy and Mallory, they talk and say, you know who got ran over? It was your aunt that you ran over. Because you know Mallory has not admitted to running over the body as of yet, as far as I know. Blah, 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 blah. And Mallory still doesn't have any feelings, like she was old anyways. And Roy was speaking about this dark heart that she has, and she doesn't care. And then she goes on to say, you know, I'm going to find out who you were sleeping with. And Roy said, why you got to be so paranoid? I don't believe that you know anything of what I was doing last night. And of course, Mallory again reiterates, I heard you, ninja. And he's still like, no. So then she all of a sudden says, let me see, pull out your phone. I think she said that. But anyways, the phone was there. And she says, call my wife. And then the phone calls the wife. So at that point, that spooked out Roy, and he left the office. Roy goes over to Charles and tells him, you know, I don't know what's really going on. Mallory called him stupid and all that good stuff. But for some reason, why did my phone call my wife and all this? Charles figured out that they have the AI turned on, and Charles ended up turning it off. Back at the hospital, Rain at this point is just kind of calmed down and told Kimmy, you know, go to work. And she said, no, I want to stay with you. Like, you know how they are, Kimmy begins to tell Rain about what she's found out about Horace, about the beauty company, and this human trafficking thing is really connected all together. Rain says she doesn't really understand, and maybe I just need to sleep and maybe I can understand better. Kimmy leaves, and Jules picks her up. And he goes off on her and all this stuff, and then he makes her get out and stand in front of an ambulance, and he plans to crash his car into her body. While he was about to ram into her, the car stopped. And he says that it's because of all of these safety features, the car did stop. But he warned her, don't ever come back to this hospital or you go into the morgue. Wouldn't she been going to the morgue by now anyways? I don't understand. Norman drives by the private road, and he sees one of the shoes his wife was wearing was in the grass area, and he's instantly upset. Roy goes and sees Jules, and still back at the office, and he feels that Kimmy set him up, and he wants to see her again tonight, in regards to calling his wife and letting his wife hear him having sex with her. Roy says that I want to make her suffer, and Jules said, you know, I told you about getting her hands dirty. Let me handle whatever is going on. He said, I don't care. I want to see her at the same place again. All right, so we're having a board meeting. Charles earlier was looking at some porn. When the board meeting is being held, he's sitting by his father, Horace, who we know is the guy that's in the strip club. So Charles is messaging a guy, and Horace was like, what are you doing? So Mallory dismisses anybody that's not a part of the family. And he reads the message out loud, Mr. Horace. He says, I want you to F me hard and make me come. And basically, we can tell that Horace is a closeted DL that is a homophobic on the outside. He's hating his son, but in secret, he's lusting after men. And he's got all this stuff to say. Then Olivia's trying to defend her son, and then Horace said, it's all your fault, Olivia's ready to go, but Mallory said, can we please just have a time to just do this meeting, because we got a lot to say, So we meet another character, Attorney Barney, that's played by Mr. Terrell Carter. You know, from Tyler Perry's earlier days of his plays, that played the dark chocolate dude that could do all them Clark sister runs. He's back. He's their attorney, and it looks like 43 new women have been included on the civil suit against the company. Barney suggests don't settle. Let the insurance pay for as much as they can. They have enough coverage for $100 million, but the lawsuit is for $1.5 billion. And they said that would really bankrupt the company. Horace is really upset. He's like, how did this happen? Can somebody answer, how did this happen? The next thing you know, Norman burst into the meeting and he said, which one of you MFers ran over my wife? That was the end of the episode. Quite suspenseful to me, but this family is a hot, hot mess. I told you, episode 2 to me helped me to understand and want to really still watch the series. And episode 3 did not disappoint me. You know, now I'm getting to know more of the family and we're putting more of the pieces together, and there's so much to learn. And even in this first half, we haven't learned hardly. We've only are at the tip of the iceberg. But anyways, hopefully you are enjoying the series along with me. But please like this video. I don't know if I'll be back this week with this series. I may wait until next week for more. I don't know yet, but we shall see. But like this video and also subscribe. And until my next one, peace.